Welcome to Perspectives. Today, we're delving into a deeply personal, yet legally debated question. Should infidelity carry legal consequences within committed partnerships? This topic touches upon trust, law, and the very nature of relationships. It's undoubtedly sensitive, and we aim to explore it with nuance. Joining me are Dr. Ben Carter, a legal scholar specializing in family law, who argues in favor of potential legal repercussions, and Ms. Olivia Vance, an experienced relationship therapist, who contends against involving the law in matters of infidelity. Each guest will present their opening arguments, followed by a discussion and rebuttal, before offering final thoughts. Our goal is to understand the different facets of this complex issue. Dr. Carter, would you please begin?
Thank you, Sarah. It's crucial we first define our scope. We're primarily discussing legally recognized partnerships, such as marriage and civil unions, where specific rights and responsibilities are established by law. At its core, entering such a union involves profound commitments, both spoken and implicit. Fidelity is often a cornerstone expectation. Therefore, infidelity isn't just a personal betrayal. It represents a significant breach of the trust fundamental to this legal and social contract. This breach often leads to tangible harm, extending beyond emotional pain, although that itself can be severe. Consider the financial implications. Marital funds might be diverted to sustain an affair, impacting shared assets or savings designated for family goals. We've seen cases where one partner's infidelity leads to the expenditure of significant joint resources on gifts, travel, or even support for an outside party. This directly harms the financial stability of the non-cheating spouse, and potentially any dependents. Furthermore, the severe emotional distress caused by betrayal can have quantifiable consequences, impacting a person's ability to work, their mental health necessitating costly therapy, and overall well-being. While difficult to measure, this harm is undeniably real. We should also acknowledge existing legal precedents. In numerous jurisdictions, even within predominantly no-fault divorce systems, adultery can still be a factor considered by courts. It might influence decisions regarding alimony or the equitable distribution of marital property, recognizing the misconduct's impact. This isn't about reviving outdated moralistic laws across the board, but about acknowledging that certain actions within a legal partnership can cause specific, demonstrable damages. Fairness dictates that such damages might warrant consideration within the legal framework governing that partnership's dissolution. The principle of accountability is central here. When one party to a legal agreement acts in a way that violates its fundamental tenets and causes significant harm to the other party, it seems inconsistent to suggest there should be absolutely no potential legal recourse or recognition of that behavior. Ignoring infidelity entirely in legal proceedings risks trivializing the commitments made in marriage and the genuine suffering caused by their violation. It suggests that the legal framework binding partners offers no protection or acknowledgement when breached in this specific, often devastating way.
Thank you, Sarah and Dr. Carter. While I understand the perspective on breach and harm, I believe introducing legal consequences for infidelity is fraught with problems and ultimately counterproductive. Firstly, we must strongly consider the fundamental right to privacy. Even within a marriage, individuals retain a sphere of personal life and autonomy that the law should be extremely hesitant to penetrate. Legislating behavior within the intimate context of a relationship is a significant step. Do we truly want the legal system involved in verifying the intimate actions and emotional connections between partners? Secondly, the practical challenges are immense. How would the law define cheating consistently? Does it include physical acts only, or emotional infidelity, online relationships, or texting? Crafting a universally applicable legal definition seems nearly impossible. And consider the evidence required. Proving infidelity in court often necessitates intrusive methods, private investigators, accessing personal communications, testimonies from third parties. This process itself can be deeply damaging and violate personal boundaries profoundly. Thirdly, The law operates with a certain rigidity that is ill-suited to the profound emotional complexity of why infidelity occurs. Relationship breakdowns are rarely simple. Affairs often signal deeper, pre-existing issues within the partnership, communication breakdown, unmet needs, individual psychological factors. Attempting to adjudicate blame through the legal lens oversimplifies these intricate human dynamics. It risks reducing complex relational problems to a simple verdict of guilt or innocence, which rarely reflects the whole truth. Furthermore, there's a significant danger of misuse. Allowing infidelity to carry legal weight can easily turn divorce proceedings into acrimonious battles focused on proving misconduct, rather than finding fair and practical solutions for separation. This weaponization of infidelity accusations can dramatically increase conflict, legal costs, and, most tragically, the emotional harm inflicted on any children involved, who become pawns in their parents' conflict. Finally, this raises a fundamental question about state overreach. Should the government be in the business of regulating morality and fidelity within private relationships? Its role should perhaps be limited to facilitating the dissolution of the legal partnership fairly, rather than punishing personal failings. No-fault divorce principles evolved for good reason.
Ms. Vance raises important points about privacy and complexity, but I believe they don't fully negate the need for legal consideration in certain circumstances. Regarding privacy, while personal autonomy is vital, a legally recognized partnership like marriage inherently has public and legal dimensions. When actions taken by one partner, such as infidelity leading to financial depletion, or severe emotional harm requiring medical intervention, directly impact the legal and financial standing of the union and the other partner, it transcends the purely private sphere. The law already intervenes in marriages regarding finances and child welfare. This isn't entirely dissimilar. Addressing the difficulty of definition and proof. Yes, it's challenging, but the legal system constantly deals with complex proofs. Proving fraud, breach of contract in business, or emotional distress in tort law also involves complexities and evidence gathering. We establish standards of proof, like preponderance of the evidence. Difficulty shouldn't mean impossibility or complete avoidance, especially when tangible harms are evident. If marital assets were demonstrably spent on an affair, that's a financial matter the law is well equipped to address during asset division, regardless of the emotional complexities behind the affair. I must reiterate the connection between actions and consequences within this specific legal context. We aren't necessarily advocating for criminal charges or making infidelity illegal per se. Instead, we're suggesting that when infidelity directly causes measurable harm recognized by law, financial loss, potentially severe emotional damages impacting functioning, it should be a factor the court can consider when determining fair outcomes in divorce or separation. This isn't about the state legislating morality in the abstract. It's about the legal system addressing the concrete, negative consequences that arise from breaking fundamental commitments within a partnership it legally sanctions and regulates. It's about ensuring fairness when one party's actions undermine the foundation of that legal union and harm the other party.
Dr. Carter's distinction between morality and addressing harm is noted, yet I remain concerned about the practical application and the underlying message. The contract analogy for marriage, while legally relevant, feels insufficient for the lived reality of relationships. These are dynamic, evolving emotional bonds, not static business agreements. Reducing infidelity's impact solely to legally quantifiable harm risks, ignoring the deeper relational context, and the potential for healing or constructive separation, which legal battles often hinder. The negative impact of litigating infidelity cannot be overstated. Introducing fault-finding related to cheating often poisons negotiations, making amicable settlements much harder to reach. This particularly damages co-parenting relationships, with long-lasting negative effects on children who witness increased hostility. Furthermore, I seriously question the deterrent effect. Will the threat of legal consequences actually prevent someone from cheating? Infidelity often stems from deep personal dissatisfaction, psychological issues, or relationship dynamics that legal threats are unlikely to resolve. It might simply encourage more secrecy and deception. Instead of focusing on legal penalties for past behavior, shouldn't our legal and social systems prioritize healthier ways forward? No-fault divorce allows couples to end a marriage that is irretrievably broken down, without needing to legally assign blame for the breakdown itself. Mediation and collaborative divorce processes offer less adversarial avenues to resolve financial and custody issues. Relationship counseling, even during separation, can help individuals understand what went wrong and part ways with less acrimony. These approaches focus on future well-being rather than past transgressions. Let's empower these, rather than adding fuel to the fire with legal battles over infidelity.
We're nearing the end of our discussion. Could I ask each of you for a concise summary of your core position on this matter, Dr. Carter?
Certainly. When infidelity within a legally recognized partnership results in demonstrable harm, financial or severe emotional distress, fairness and accountability suggest it should be a factor the legal system can consider during dissolution, ensuring consequences align with actions within that specific legal framework.
Thank you, Dr. Carter. Ms. Vance, your final thought?
The law is a blunt instrument for the intricate issues of the heart, prioritizing privacy, acknowledging emotional complexity, and utilizing non-adversarial methods like mediation and no-fault principles offer a more humane and ultimately more constructive path for couples navigating the painful end of a relationship, regardless of infidelity.
Thank you both, Dr. Ben Carter and Ms. Olivia Vance, for sharing your expertise and offering such well-reasoned, though differing, perspectives on this challenging subject today. We've explored the tension between the desire for legal accountability when the commitments of a marriage are broken and cause tangible harm, and the arguments for protecting personal privacy and acknowledging the profound complexities of human relationships that law may struggle to address fairly. As we've heard, there are strong arguments on both sides and no easy answers. The debate touches upon the very purpose of marriage laws and the role of the state in private lives. We hope this discussion has provided our audience with valuable insights and encouraged thoughtful reflection on the legal, ethical, and personal dimensions of infidelity. Thank you for joining us on Perspectives. Good evening.